stars. It's cuffing season and we have a reason. We need a big boy, but do we need a homeless one? According to the Washington Post, a smegsy calendar of homeless men is being circulated. Is it exploitative or empowering? Marquise Hines sat shirtless in a wheelchair, hidden from the Utah sun under a scrap of tree shade. He leaned forward, eyes pinched in a fashion model squint. He was smizing, his face aimed at a photographer. Over his shoulders, in the background, but not part of the photo shoot, a half-dozen people were sprawled across the Salt Lake City sidewalk, men and women who, like Hines, are part of the city's booming unhoused population. "Beautiful," the photographer said. According to the video taken during the shoot, "Now I need your eyes to smile." Ksenia Knezeva, 38, stood at the photographer's elbow. Quote, "Think of the greatest love of your life," she called to Hines, coaching him through the look. "Cross your legs again. Look like you were resting," unquote. Hines brought one leg up over the other, exposing where each limb narrowed to an abrupt surgical end below the ankle. Last year, frostbite from sleeping outside cost Hines both his feet. Quote, "Imagine you're chilling on the beach and you are about to seduce a beautiful woman," Knezeva said. "Instead of angry, I want your eyes to smile a little bit. A little passion in the eyes," unquote. Hines rearranged his face. "That's it," the photographer said. "That's it." Knezeva shot the model a thumbs up and Hines's face exploded into a smile. The photo shoot was part of the local homeless aid outfit Nomad Alliance's, quote, smexy nomad calendar. A 12-month spread of unsheltered men in seductive centerfold poses and pouts. The 2024 edition will be the organization's third calendar. Organizers say the experience can be uplifting for the men who participate, a way to humanize a group that is often ignored or shunned. But some advocates see the calendar and some of the group's other outreach work as exploitative. Utah officials are investigating a complaint filed by a former Nomad volunteer over the treatment of a family who say they felt pressured to pose for the calendar, among other issues. Knezeva denied the allegations of the complaint, but said the situation, quote, "underscores the difficulty of our work," unquote. The idea and vision behind the calendar is all Knezeva's, the organization's director and only paid employee. Since starting the Nomad Alliance in 2020, Knezeva has elbowed into the arena of Salt Lake City's social services providers with unconventional tactics. Smexy Nomads is the most unorthodox and controversial. "All publicity is good publicity," Knezeva said. "I wanted to do something to highlight the beauty and humanity of these people, especially when I see how often they are demeaned and ignored and treated as an invisible people," unquote. The calendar has helped attract attention and grants to the organization, as well as resources that are badly needed at a time when Utah's newly homeless population has risen by 10% and Salt Lake City's overall unsheltered community has jumped 55%. I thought Utah was so advanced in providing free housing and universal basic income. Am I wrong? I know that for all them people that have to get into like poly marriages, right? The women get married up to like one dude, but the brothers often are not in a position to be married once or have, that kind of financial setup to have all those wives and all those kids. So a lot of those sons end up in this position. There's some really juicy podcasts talking about, this sort of like population that is not promoted or favored in parts of that community, which is, it's interesting. But I will tell you this. I have gotten myself some butter manufactured in Utah, And I believe it may be butter that's manufactured with some kind of tie to the Utah community. I'll put it like that. And it's excellent. Like Kerrygold excellent. Domestically produced. I'll make an effort to show it, but it is delicious. Perfectly salted. It gives you all the butter goodness, because sometimes, organic, expensive butter can just taste like, Vaseline or Play-Doh. It's disappointing, but not this Utah butter. It's my little promo. Anyway, back to the story. During the 2023 point in time count in January, when volunteers walked across Salt Lake City one night counting the area's unsheltered population, they found 435 homeless individuals, a significant surge from the 281 counted in 2022. Nomad Alliance grew out of Kanaya Zeva's own experience of homelessness. During the pandemic, she said her new wellness business lost clients, and then she lost her own housing and began living in a trailer. But she immediately began organizing supply drives for items like sleeping bags, socks, underwear, blankets, and hygiene items for people living in the encampments that were popping up across Salt Lake City. Nomad Alliance, incorporated as a nonprofit in February 2021, hosted frequent supply drives while also offering regular workshops for unsheltered individuals on everything from self-defense to art therapy. Last winter, when Utah's freezing winter temperatures dipped below freezing, Kanaya Zeva got a hold of a repurposed 2001 food truck, spread blankets across the seatless cabin, and created a mobile warming station. There were no barriers. Anyone could come, but parking permits, vehicle title issues, and emissions tests all became problematic. Kanaya Zeva admitted at the time the alliance was really learning on the run. Quote, as an organization, we don't have a lot of resources, she said, but the problem we are facing is really bad. When we started our work in 2020, so many people were falling to the streets, and ever since the eviction moratorium ended, we're seeing so many more falling into the streets, unquote. The Nomad Alliance eventually attracted funding. The Utah Homelessness Council awarded it a grant for outreach work that amounted to $25,000, according to Kanaya Zeva. She said the organization also received $28,000 from a philanthropic foundation. Those grants allowed Kanaya Zeva to make around $3,000 a month before taxes and salary, she said. But she still lives in her trailer parked on a friend's property. I'm still technically homeless, even though it's bougie homeless, she said. The competitive scramble for resources and attention was what inspired the Smexy Nomad calendar. The idea featuring Salt Lake City's homeless men in a prominent calendar also came from Kanaya Zeva's own experience modeling. Quote, I had really low self-esteem for a lot of my life. I never thought I was pretty until I was asked to step in front of a camera, she said. It helped me realize that I have power and value, and that I'm being seen, and that I'm important. I wanted to give that to my friends on the street, unquote. Naya Zeva found professional photographers willing to shoot the calendar for free, and a printer who donated materials and time for the production. Eventually, sponsors added money for the project, from local bread companies and bars and restaurants to law firms and apparel companies. Models, however, took some convincing, Naya Zeva admitted. The men were not only asked to share their bodies, but life stories. Naya Zeva's concept for the calendar featured models sprawled in poses with write-ups on their lives, how they ended up on the streets, the substance use issues and mental battles they struggle with, and their hopes for the future. Quote, the hardest part about being out here is the mental state, unquote. Ben, 31, was quoted saying in 2023's February calendar, I always thought I wasn't really good looking, but looking at these photos, man, you guys put it on the money. Quote, sometimes I think I got more face tattoos than friends, unquote. Bumblebee 34 said in his April 2023 spread. Paying rent and all that isn't easy, Brad 59 said on his August 2023 page, especially with health problems. If you get too far behind, it's hard to get back up there.